Whoa, we're getting the GME breakout green crayon. All right, so I'm gonna do just the action right now, real quick, and get this thing up. But also, I'm gonna go back and look at the whole chart and show you what's happening with this thing because it's getting crazy. So we just broke out of this consolidation zone. We need to come back and tag 120 again, or twice, maybe come back down to 19 on support here. But this was a super boring, well, kind of hot consolidation zone here. This is not financial advice. Please subscribe and tap the like button. And yeah, so we broke out of our little down channel here, and this thing is so hot. Let's do story time. I'll do the short term, then the long one. So, I mean, we broke. Let's see. Let me get out to where we can see some stuff. All right. So let me paint a picture. All right, so this was our big flag up. That was a few days ago. And the first bubble is a little bit sloppy, but man, this thing looks mathematical. Like these waves are like textbook Elliott waves. And you get this consolidation zone that's just like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and so you can see like the main part of the consolidation zone here. Most of the action is attacking this inside line, and occasionally you get a pop outside. It's trying to break out, come back to support, try to break out, come back. And then it's squeezed in here, and then it's popping up. So you get this high angled kind of, this is the skyline. The skyline for the breakout is up here. And then the necklines from the previous bubble are 200 and 340. And so 200 is right where we flagged up to and started this down channel. We broke out and set up this top trend line. And now we just done 2 days of consolidating sideways and a really bullish sideways wedge here. And we just broke out of it to the top. And so this thing is a mad bull breakout right here. And then, after you pop out of the channel, you'll come back and touch it once or twice, which should happen like right now. And then, man, after hours today can be tapping up this trend line, or it could just freaking blow up. But this breakout looks really, really hot. And I'm going to go out. Let me get out to like, yeah, I think I can get everything in the screen on a 15-minute candle. Let's just look at this thing. The trend lines don't hug quite perfectly when I switch the time scales, but anyway, this is our Ryan Cohen pop into a bull channel here, and then we picked up the bubble trend line here. So let me show you how this bubble, the first one looked, because the second one could be very similar. These things often repeat themselves, like if you look at Tesla or I don't know, like the KOSS chart or the rocket chart maybe is doing repeating patterns. But you can see here that we picked up this lower trend line, and then we have like sort of a double channel to the upside. We have like the action channel here where we hit it, and then we have like the overextended channel where it knocks it back down. So you go up and hit it and test it, and then we came down to support here overnight. You can't see it because it was it like came down and went all the way back up just overnight trading. And then we're tapping and got rejected super hard right to support. Then we get up here. And let me show you the bubble topping pattern. So we just did a kind of a flag into support. So I mean, we could pop up into like another consolidation or something. But this one is under the neckline. That's why that one consolidated again there before it took off. So that pattern probably won't repeat, but here, let me show you the top of the bubble. So like on the way up, you stab up and you get knocked down. You stab up, you get knocked down. You stab up and then you get knocked down. And then when you start getting into the topping pattern, you can see you start stabbing down, stab down, but then you go back up, right? And then you stab, and there's a stab down right here on overnight trading, and then popped right back up to the peak here, and that ended up being the top. And then we stab down again, and everyone was freaking out about Robinhood and blah 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 blah. Like this like slightly overextended candle past the stab maybe had something to do with Robinhood, but like this is a completely typical stab down at the peak of a bubble. So I mean it's stab, 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 and then we pick up the yellow trend line and go back up, and then stab, and then stab. So this is the down channel. So when you're in the down channel, like when you're reversing, you'll take turns between stabbing down and then popping back up across the top of the bubble as it kind of creates the neckline and rolls over. And then you do the big stab and maybe another one on the way down. Okay, so that's just kind of the shape of the bubble. And then we popped back up to this lower line here and then went into this boring channel, super boring, um, bullish kind of channel into the longer term support here. And then we did the double hop on support, which is awesome. That is a killer entry. The second hop you can really find, you know where the support is, and it's just like ground all over that support line. It was killer. Yeah, so this was a killer entry for this, and it just flagged up like a monster. It went crazy all the way up to the neckline, like boom, like in a few hours. It was absolutely nuts. I was watching that happen. Yeah, then we just kind of get this mathematical pullback, and then we get a breakout and this consolidation over to this support area here. So I'll go back to the 5 minutes, and that's where we are. And you can see we just popped out of this consolidation pattern. We picked up support. If I zoom in on this a little closer, I saw this a few minutes ago. We reached down and tagged the channel, and then we started popping on top of support here, which is cool, like a little false breakdown into the channel, and then we started hitting this thing really hard here. It looked like it wanted to break out, and then it did. And so we should probably come back down, tag this once or twice. Usually do that after a little breakout. And then targets, I should probably have said this at the beginning of the video if you're still watching, but I kind of like this intersection here as a target. This is the top neckline and the skyline. If we get a crazy flag up, like that's going to happen tomorrow. So like call like a Friday call option with like a three, whatever, like a strike like at 300 or something, would be a super risky, insane option that you could do. Or the safe option is to strike along the lower line, the lower support line, and this goes out past Friday. So that would be like a 2-week strike on the lower support line. As just like a safe option. Here's a super risky option. I mean, they're all super risky, but this is like, it has to do exactly what you're telling it to do or you lose everything. But if it does it, it goes like 100x or something. So you make a small bet on the safe option and you make a tiny bet on the crazy one. Is kind of the way to look at that. And then if you want to just take a look at the whole, the whole bubble, I mean, we've already got a couple little shapes here of, reaching and getting knocked down. So if we reach, and I like this intersection, I think we might go up here and then probably trade inside the neckline here. Let me draw what I'm looking at. So we just did the breakout. Let's do 2 back tests. That happens a lot. Then we want to get inside of this channel where we were hot, right? And then wait, that's not good. It's got to go faster than that to get here. So yeah, it's got to go pretty vertical, like maybe overnight. Yeah, so back test it, get in this channel, coil, get up here and coil under this thing, under the neckline, and then break through, and then bang. Like that intersection, I like that as a target. And then you'd get rejected. You might overshoot it slightly. You get rejected hard back down into this channel that we're trading in. Maybe set up like another down kind of flag thing where you're going like this, and then probably on top of this inside that trading channel that was set up, and then boom, then you can come back down here and pick up support, and then back into this is actually a nice little zone here for consolidation, and then pop out of here, and then goodbye. That's an idea. Just using all these trend lines that are here, and the breakout. I mean, this is very hypothetical, but that's just kind of like one trade idea for what this thing might do. It looks super hot. I mean, these two pennant consolidations are extremely hot. Like you can see this one just attacking, trying to break out, attacking, come down, like attack, try to break out, attack, try to break out, and then just like wham, break out, and then another boring another boring consolidation. Everyone's like, when's this thing gonna happen? But it actually might be happening right now. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, this one was hot too. We're like hitting it, trying to break out, hit it, try to break out, boom, break out. So that's the GME for just now. I guess this is a normal format video. I can take a look at some other stuff. So let's get out on like a hourly chart on the stock market. This is the S&P, and this is dangerous, super dangerous. So like I was showing you the top of a bubble, you start stabbing down. So we've started stabbing down on the S&P now. I mean, you know, like on the long, let me get to the long term, like dailies. I think I can get the whole thing in here. So like we started stabbing down in 2018, Volmageddon, we stab, right? So this is like a lower level set of stabs. And then when you get into the topping pattern, you can do a higher level set of stabs. So we're still going up this bubble, it looks like, but we're stabbing down. So we're setting up a bear market, which could happen in the next few years sometime maybe. But this week, oh, look what it's doing right now. What an incredible time to pop on here. Yeah, so like stab, we're stabbing, rolling, stab, right? And then now we're trying to come down again. We're doing like these little kind of stabs down, these tiny trend lines, but the target is like this downward angle here. And so this is my target. My downward target for the S&P is this area right here is insane, because we have a neckline horizontal from the previous peak. We have two downward stabbing channels crossing right here, and we have the super strong long-term support here. It's like this is an incredible, like this might be like a falling knife stab that shoots up in a V right here. It's like 4 different support lines. There's like no freaking way we're stabbing through that right now. And then I think we're gonna freaking go up here and figure out some topping pattern in the 4,000 range. That's what it looks like it's gonna do. And we just broke underneath this neckline here on this down move. So if this follows through, that's amazing timing. Just breaking under the neckline, because we just tested it and now we're coming back. So we're gonna break through this thing this time. And let me go. Yes, so it looks like the stock market is going to be crashing the same time as the meme stocks are like exploding up and bubbling up, and that might be related. Like people that are short, short the meme stocks have to sell their positions in the S&P, kind of just like flipping over. We also have, or let me just take a look at the bubble here. So we've set up some downtrend lines. There's a potential like downward target for another stab after we, like the way that kind of a topping pattern. We go stab here, right? And that's 3 stabs. That's enough stabs to get up to a top. Sometimes when you get to the top, you can stab. We just saw that on the GME chart. You can stab back down to the neckline or even like crazy down and then go back in time. But it looks to me like this is the top of our long-term channel. Does this go back far enough? You can see this is from the 2008 crash, and this is on a log scale. You can see this trading channel is crazy. We broke down under it, but like anytime we get near the top of this channel, we get knocked down, and then it's just really strong support. Like you cannot break through this freaking thing. Like every time we get down to it, you cannot break through it. You just bounce up off of this channel, right? But then we we started stabbing down, and this was the end of 2018. We're like, can't break through it. Boom, we stabbed through it. Like that's monstrous. And then we're back up here. You can't break it down, and then just rip through it on the COVID crash. And then we're up here. And so I think we're going to stab down and bounce off the top of it here and probably go find a top of the stock market like the middle of this year sometime. And then who knows, end of the year, rolling into next year maybe. When you start breaking down on the backside, you'll get kind of back into this neckline area. You roll over and then look for like a back test of the channel. Probably just like that, like breakdown is the neckline, back test the channel, like right here where it crosses it. That's perfect. And then freaking waterfall, like back down. And then, and then you'll get a pretty good bounce out of there. That's the topping pattern. And that would usually set up a bear market. But if it's high inflation, a bear market can be sideways or even a little bit up, like just kind of stagflationary for a while. If we're in a deflationary cycle, a bear market can be down. Like the Great Depression sort of famous deflationary crash, like that was halfway through a deflationary cycle. So it was way down like crazy. But right now it looks like we're switching into inflation, and this thing might hit into an inflationary kind of up kind of thing. So the follow through of this kind of topping pattern, if this happens, I have to worry about that later. That would be, next year or whatever. And try to figure out the inflation signals to what the bear market would look like. But this sets up a bear market for sure. But you can have an upward bear market if there's high inflation in stocks, which are still better than holding dollars, probably. But there's probably commodities and things like that would be way better. The dollar chart is really cool. This dollar chart is what is kind of giving away the crash right now. People are, what's a good one? Like 1 hour on this chart. So yeah, that huge down channel for the last year, Jan 6, we reversed off the bottom of the channel and we kind of broke out of here. But you can see this trend line here is our new dollar support line. We did the double V bear trap here, boom, and we're popped up, and it looks like we're just like headed uphill on this dollar. And so you get a hot dollar, and then where are treasuries? Here. These are the 20-year treasuries, which may have just peaked and put in a double bottom. Yeah, so if this is a takeoff on treasuries and we have a hot dollar, that means people are rotating out of stocks and they're going into dollars, going into treasuries now. So I mean that could be a long-term trend or a short one. I don't know, but that's kind of the look. It doesn't look very good. I can do. I'll take a look at inflation. I have. Oh yeah, the treasury yield spread here. So that was a fun for trading the bonds themselves. Like that was a bond chart. But this chart is. Oh, this thing does not work on auto or on log. Okay. Weekly. This thing's huge. All right, so this thing goes back to like 1995 or something like that. And basically, we just cycle up and down, up and down. This is the spread between like the 10-year treasury and the 2-year treasury. So it gives you a good idea of the interest rate spread, like the banks make money on that interest rate spread. And so when it comes down to the bottom, it is actually goes negative sometimes. Like these bottoms were negative. This bottom actually went a little bit negative also. So and that's when you hear like the yield curve is inverted, is when this spread gets below zero here. This was an inverted yield curve, and then that's the signal that tells people that it's about to go into an inflationary cycle where interest rates are going to go back up. And when that starts happening, it usually leads into some kind of a recession here. This is the 1995 recession. This is the dot-com blow-off recession. This is the housing bubble recession on this up move. And then right now we're just ripping freaking vertical right now. And like the Janet Yellen just said she wants to spend the entire like freaking TGA Treasury General account, which is like 1.5 trillion they have sitting there. And that's like a helicopter money freaking thing, stimulus checks, all that. This is all part of this upward, inflationary up move. So the interest rates should be getting pushed up. The Fed still says they're low. The Fed's going to have to like realize that they're not low. They can't really lie about it for that long because people are just not going to do it. Like everyone knows that the rates are going up. And the Fed just kind of like, oh yeah, they're near zero. Like, no, they're not now. The front end of the treasury curve is near zero. Like a 3-month treasury bond is near zero interest, but the 30 years are, going up to a couple percent already, and they'll probably be at 3 or 4% really soon. Like this thing is freaking going parabolic, but usually, when you get near the top of this treasury curve spread, it starts doing crazy choppy stuff and turning over. So that's what I've drawn out here. Just kind of, it'll probably start chopping and we'll hit the top, and then the interest rates will start coming back down. So on these two bottoms, we hit 0% interest rates, and this one was kind of false. It looked like it would have gone negative, but the Fed had just said it's not, and it was close enough. This one really did just like tap at zero. So since the short treasuries are staying at zero and actually the long end is going up, that's different. Like since the 70s, we've had, whatever that is, 50 years of when you get down to the bottom of the cycle, the long end isn't going up, but the short end drops. Like that's the inverted yield curve. It goes upside down, and then the short end starts dropping. And then you have like a little crossover, but like interest rates were at 20% in the 70s, and each one of these cycles, the yield curve spread has just cycled, but it's been lower and lower interest rates, lower and lower interest rates every time. But then we hit zero, and then we hit zero, and so I mean, this thing could take 5 years or whatever to roll over, to get up here and roll over again. But when we get down to the bottom here, if like it could be like if this thing is turning over and the stock market's crashing, we don't know if it's inflationary or deflationary, but we could be in like a deflationary kind of cycle where the stock market is bad. But then if we land higher than zero interest rates here, then that's the beginning of inflation. And it probably would follow that pattern where the low end kind of freezes and then the long end of the curve pushes up. It's the inflationary kind of version of a yield curve inverting or something like that. Anyway, that's the inflation outlook. I think that we did actually switch into an inflation move on this bottom this past year. And that's kind of the inflationary outlook. And so if we do get a topping kind of rollover pattern on the stock market, but it's inflation, then like maybe it would be looking bearish on the down move. Yeah, I don't know that like if you're in an inflationary trend, the stock market just kind of goes sideways, like a bear market is really just sideways in the stock market when you're doing inflation. And then if you're, yeah, the stock market gets kind of, it just gets kind of choppy and lame. So yeah, I think after this rollover, if that happens, stocks will just not be interesting. And there's other stuff going on, like we'll be in like a commodity bull market, precious metals, all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, the VIX is popping a little bit. The oil VIX is like, I think we might be topping on oil. I can't. I'm way too far out. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that the action today is bringing the oil volatility down. So oil is near its long-term top, and it started chopping down, but then it looks like it's picked up the bull support line here, and oil might be wanting to break out of here. I was thinking oil was looking like it wanted to chop down, and we might get another bear market on oil. But right now is not a good trade setup for anything. It's just kind of waving around. It's like near the top of this channel, but it's kind of holding support, and need to just see it break down before setting up like a bearish trade, or we need to see it break out of here before setting up kind of a bullish oil trade. It's in a really weird spot. Gold continues to bomb. Yeah, gold's just breaking down. What's a good chart for gold? Like hours, days. Yeah, so I mean, we've been in a bull market for gold since 2000, and this, I think, broke the all-time highs. But we're just in a down channel now, and this trend line isn't very good. I think this is probably a trend line for like weekly. I don't know what in the world that trend line is. What is that? Oh well. Anyway, gold's just kind of in a down channel right now, and there should be some kind of, yeah, I guess it could pull all the way back down. Like, yeah, here you see it did a similar kind of flagging pattern, and then it pulled all the way down to like the top of that flag right here, right? And now it just did a similar flagging pattern, much larger, and now it looks like it's just kind of blah, like looks like it's breaking down. And yeah, it could break down. I need to get rid of this line because I don't know what that is, but it does look like it might be breaking down to the top of this, flag here, which would be a good entry into gold. I'm just kind of watching that thing, but it's just kind of pulling back right now. It doesn't look good. I don't know, fundamental wise, whatever, but that's just what the chart is doing. Silver is kind of in an interesting spot. Silver's been on a bull market too since about 2000, but I mean, it had like a little bubble that it pulled back off of here. Let's get in on this chart. Yeah, so I mean, this is the bull market line we've been on for the past year, and we're trying to break down underneath it right now, which is not a good look for silver. Let's see, maybe like a 4-hour chart. So that trend line does not look good on a 4-hour chart. So we've done false breakdown before. So like we've stabbed through here multiple times and didn't break down. And this pattern really doesn't look too bad. Like we're not stabbing down, like the stabs are uphill, then it pulls back, picks up support. These are uphill stabs. It's breaking through support, but this doesn't look scary yet. It still just kind of looks like a bullish consolidation, but we may get like a pullback and then pop back up into this channel. Oh, this green line is important for some reason. I don't know what that goes back to. That must have been a neckline from the previous bubble. So actually, yeah, if we're gonna have like a little stock market crash over the next couple of weeks, and silver wants to do a false breakdown, it might do that. It might pull back to like the neckline here, and then like shoot back up into this channel. Yeah, I'm not sure. Silver looks weird. It looks like it wants to come down, but you need to break down and then kind of like back test this channel to actually get bearish on it. It doesn't really make sense. If we're switching into inflation and we're also switching into a commodity bull market, silver should be freaking awesome, but the chart doesn't look good. Like platinum just broke out of a huge like 20-year channel. Let's see, what, like weeks or something for platinum? Yeah, so I mean we had a commodity bull market since 2000 on platinum, and then it did this huge down range, and it just obviously broke out. So let's see, on the last breakout, like this thing didn't come back down and test. It just freaking took off. So it did roll over though. Yeah, so that line is not useful. But anyway, yeah, we had a commodity bull market here, and then we just broke out of this long-term consolidation. So like platinum, some of the metals are looking crazy. Like I think copper may be the craziest. Copper is just like going freaking nuts. Yeah, copper is like doubled in the past year, which is a good signal for a commodity bull market. Oh, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is what's a good chart for Bitcoin? Days? Hours? Well, so I mean we had our consolidation and we took off here. I don't know what's happening. Some of my lines are just like way in the wrong place. Let's go hours on this thing. Yeah, so this previous flag that we got on Bitcoin was a really typical. Oh yeah, my support line's way off. I don't know what's going on here. This is super typical kind of bullish pennant breakout here. What was I talking about? GME just did this, right? It just popped and then maybe tapped twice, just like this. It just did this exact pattern, except it was even a little more bullish upward. But you do this and run up, but then we go straight into a weird looking one. See how we're stabbing down, stab down, stab down, right? And then we kind of picked up a channel or something here, but this is like a downward double top with downward stabs. This looks dangerous. I don't like this. It does not look bullish. This looks like a more 60-40, like a bearish looking kind of a flag. It's not much of a flag. It's just like a double top, which is not good. It hasn't quite formed yet, but it does not look good. Yeah, so like here's our bubble takeoff and our flag here. So I mean the top of this thing's right here. I don't even know if we were gonna break down on Bitcoin. I don't even know where our target would be. 20 maybe? Like it could, I don't know. Bitcoin never breaks down, right? This thing's just gonna flag out to the side and it'll start looking normal or something maybe. I don't know. Right now it doesn't look good, but this thing needs to develop more. Well, and then at the same time, Ethereum is for sure breaking down. Like Ethereum was on this ripping line up here, and it broke hard down. Yeah, that's real bad. Yeah, it's in like a freaking awful spot. But if Ethereum comes back down here, like into the support range around 800-ish somewhere, that would be a killer spot to get it because it was 2000. But this looks awful for Ethereum, which is generally not good for Bitcoin. I don't like those charts. Everyone loves Bitcoin, but the charts are weird. The doggy chart, the Doge. This one is what's a good thing? Hours? This is the weirdest freaking chart. It has the craziest action on it. Like it did this huge like double takeoff, and then yeah, it was like trying to crash, like it was stabbing and it was dropping, and then it broke out above everything, and now it's just flagging out sideways. It's kind of like underneath this area. It's like going above and below this sideways line. I don't know. It's just like a weird, super weird breakout chart. Maybe this whole crazy mess picks up another trend line or something. But I mean, it's not in the bearish pattern for sure. Like it did some stabs, it did some pullbacks, and then it just flagged out sideways. Like a lot of times that is just kind of weakly bearish. Like it'll just slowly kind of wander down. I mean, it might wander down all the way back down to support, or it might pick up another trend line somewhere. I don't know. That's a weird chart, but the dish. Oh, AG. Yeah, this is silver miners, and it broke down off of this thing, which may be not a good look for silver. Also, like silver might pull back. This thing looks like it's going to pull back. But let me show you a long-term chart of this thing. I saw this earlier today, and I was like, this is super cool. Like a weekly chart. Yeah. So, like this is what this thing has been doing for a long time, since the 2008 crash. It's been in this crazy consolidation area, and it just blasted out of the top. This is silver miners. AG is First Majestic. This is my favorite silver miner. Yeah, so it just blasted out of the top, right? So it probably needs to come back down and grab support. And then we have like maybe a trend line here. But yeah, like come back to support at like 14 or something like that. Let me get into a closer chart. Yeah, so like this little blow up thing, everyone's saying like silver squeeze, blah, 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 blah. But that was a breakout of a freaking, whatever, 10-year consolidation zone. It just broke out of the top, and now it looks like we're coming back down to support here around this trend line is off. Come on, come on. You can do it. All right, boom, right in the 14 range, 1450, somewhere around there. Looks like we're going to catch support there. We might come back down to 14 again. A lot of times you can hit support multiple times. But yeah, if we're going into a commodity bull market and we just broke out of this chart on AG, it looks freaking awesome. Yeah, so this is First Majestic Silver Corp. I just bought some silver from them 2 weeks ago, right before they jacked the premiums up. But like almost everything's sold out now. The premiums, like the bullion coin price, is at like 35. But this stock at 14 looks really good to me. And this probably is not something I would try to do call options on, because it doesn't have like explosive moves like GameStop or something. But this could be a cool buy and hold. And if you have like the paper stock certificate of 100 shares, when you buy bullion from them, you can get a discount on the bullion price if you have shares of their stock, which is pretty cool. Whatever. We have all these meme stocks. I guess Tesla is like the meme stock. Yeah, so Tesla broke down out of this kind of consolidation area, and it's raining. I was thinking we might dead cat bounce back up here somewhere and find a good short spot, but it looks like it's just going to kind of come down and tap. These trend lines are all screwed up, man. I don't know what happened. They were all good like earlier. But yeah, this is a pretty bearish looking breakdown. Probably just going to come down and stab again. I guess I have a target somewhere over here, 500 or something. Yeah, Tesla doesn't look good, but it's a really weird rollover chart. It didn't really get a very good neckline. It just kind of wobbled, and it's like out here doing weird stuff. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird chart, and the options are really expensive, and it's kind of slow moving. But it doesn't look good. Tesla looks like it's in big trouble. Rocket, RKT. Yeah, this thing, this is a cool one. And this is trending big time on Wall Street Bets right now. It's done. Let me get into like a 15-minute chart, maybe. This one's done a repeated pattern a couple times here. So you can see this big looping blow off top, and it landed kind of on like a flat area. There was like, it broke through the flat area. It did a huge looping top down to a flat area, and then it just kind of flagged over to the same flat area and picked up a bull trend line, right? And so it just did it again. Look, it just went like bang, bang, bang. It set up this neckline, right? And then it did a big looping thing, bang, right onto it. And then if it repeats this, just kind of blah, 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 and then pick up support over here, which would be maybe Monday, and maybe do a bigger version of this thing. That's kind of cool. KOSS. This one, I think, is trying to break out. But this one doesn't have like call or put options. You can just buy shares. What in the world is this line? How did all my trend lines get destroyed? So frustrating. And this one needs more chart. Yeah, this one just went nuts. So this one's bubbling at the same time as GameStop with a different pattern. But I mean, it went from $1 to 170, and now it's kind of looks like it might be picking up support and kind of breaking out of this flag here. Just did like another little flag, and so looks like it's picking up. I had a trend line under here, and if this thing kind of trades up a little bit over the next day, this could be a pretty cool spot where it could do another one of these takeoffs. And I don't know if it does another big one. Like that one went nuts. I don't know what's going on with this stock, but it could, who knows? It could go pretty high. And then GME. Look, all my trend lines are screwed up on this thing too. Oh, it's because I turned the log off for the 10-year treasuries. Oh, man. Okay. Well, it like really broke all my trend lines. Like I have to redo them all. Yeah, anyway, the GameStop short squeeze situation has a little breakout. And where are we now? Oh, we're back up. Let's get in there and see what's going on. Yeah, we might not. That might be it. Like one little back test. It's putting in a nasty candle. Usually, if it's going to do two back tests, it just kind of rolls over. But yeah, if we break up into this green, if we get up into the 130s, like this thing's freaking going to go to the moon overnight tonight. Yeah, GameStop. Can't stop, won't stop. GameStop. Happy trading.